All right, I don't even know if I'm going to keep this one or what. This is not exactly a test. I don't know exactly how I'd describe it, but a few reasons for doing this. One is just to get something up and get back on air because I haven't been on for so long. Been about a month off. At the start of the month, I was out of town and there was some other stuff and some things I was going to do with some people fell through, whatever. But I will get back on track with some of that. I have things coming up, including Jay and I are going to resume the movie discussion pocket dimension. I know it's been on a bit of a hiatus. That was not the plan. It's just how it works. But that's coming back soon. So I'm sort of just get myself back into the frame of mind and being on air. And then also just to give myself some energy. Last few nights, I was going to do something. And I just felt so tired. I was going to bed early, even though I was not that. It's not like I was having long, busy days. I really wasn't, not compared to most people. I just didn't have much energy. And I didn't have much energy tonight either. And I was like, come on, let's do this. Let's do something. So I don't know. I picked The Replacement Killers. It's kind of a weird movie. It's sort of a mostly forgettable movie. One thing that's unique about movies I own is I don't own because I don't like you. Because usually if I'm going to go to the trouble of buying a movie and paying for it, I like to think that I have a really good, what at least at the time was like the best version, everything like that. So one thing I never really liked were those like multi packs, ones that would have multiple films. There's a lot of those two double feature ones. So here, this is a double feature of The Replacement Killers and a film I've never seen that seems to have, I guess, Kiefer Sutherland in it called Truth or Consequences. And I've owned this for a while, but I've still never actually bothered with Truth or Consequences. I bought it solely because, as far as I could tell, it was the only way I could find The Replacement Killers, which I mean, this was pretty cheap, right? So it wasn't a big deal to get. So I don't know. I really like The Replacement Killers. I mean, it's a fairly forgettable, average movie. The only thing it really has going for it is, of course, Chow Yun Fat, and it's kind of like a weird, weak echo of his movie, the John Woo classic, the Killer, and that I think once again he's playing a hitman that, it's kind of the same thing in the Killer. He's a hitman and he decides to actually protect the target or something like that. And it's the same thing here. Like, it's a hitman, he botches the job or changes or decides to do something different. So now, like, the people that employ him, they're going to come after him. I haven't seen it in a few years, so I forget a lot of it. So who else is in there? So it's him co-starring with Mira Sorvino. Michael Rooker's in there somewhere too. Some other people. Maybe the most notable thing about this, besides Chow Yun Fat, is that it's the directorial debut of Antoine Fuqua, who's gone on to be a pretty respectable, good director, and a couple years after this, got a lot of attention because he directed the crime drama Training Day, which I think is a super overrated movie. I enjoy it. I think it's a fun movie, but I think people take it really seriously and rate it. I don't know. Not to me. To me, it's not one of like a great movies. And he would work a few more times with Denzel Washington, I think, over the years. Let's take a quick look. I had already looked at it, and of course now I've already forgotten what his filmography is like. Mostly solid movies. The only really bad one in there, I mean, I haven't seen all of them, was he did the dreadful 2004 King Arthur movie, which just so bad. Like, don't even watch it to see how that. It's interesting. He didn't do any of the sequels to them because I remember. But anyway, he did direct Olympus Has Fallen, which would spawn a few sequels. I think, what was it? London Has Fallen and like Angel Has Fallen. He didn't direct either of those sequels. But once again, working with Denzel Washington, he did the two Equalizer movies. I haven't seen them, and also the remake of The Magnificent Seven, which is okay, I guess. I haven't seen anything he's done the last years. I know he did the boxing movie Southpaw. What else? Oh, the other movie he did that I like a lot besides this one, this is still my favorite movie, is he did another crime drama, Brooklyn's Finest, which is just about several cops in New York. I actually really like that movie. It's not amazing or anything, but I like it. But this is still the one I like the best. Probably because it just reminds it's not a Hong Kong action movie, but it's an American movie that reminds you of a Hong Kong action movie because, of course, it stars Chow Yun Fat, who's like the #1 star of that scene. Or, well, at least maybe not like the gun stuff. Maybe not so much the normal martial arts and stuff. And one thing I didn't know until I looked into this movie is that Mira Sorvino herself has, to use a turn of phrase, a Chinese connection. Nothing about her family or anything like that, but actually when she was in college in the late 80s, she studied, one of her majors or something was like, I don't know, I'm really going to botch it, but something like some sort of Asian studies thing, I don't know. And then she actually lived in Beijing for almost a year, where she taught English and studied Chinese. So she obviously has some very hands-on experience and a big interest in China and Chinese culture. So it was cool for her to be in a movie that's kind of like actually not not a real Hong Kong movie, but kind of an echo of one, reminiscent of one, and of course to work with the great legend, even in 98, to legendary Chow Yun Fat. So that's pretty cool. That's something I didn't know about at the time. There was something else too. I forget now, but it was something else about her. Oh yeah, so also apparently, like I'll have to see. I guess I'm not so used to, like, I know who Mira Sorvino is. She's in movies. I've seen her in stuff, but I guess I'm not too used to her. I don't often think about her. I can't like. And one of the things I'm better at recognizing, I've said this before in other things, is I'm not so great at faces, especially if like you change an actor's hair a little bit or dress them up. Suddenly, like I'm like I don't know. But what helps is their voice. But the thing I was going to say is about Mira Sorvino's voice, which is one I don't know too well, is that her voice is a little rough in this movie compared to her normal voice, and that's because she had been in the movie Mimic just before that. And in Mimic, she screams a lot, as you might expect, sort of a monster movie. Speaking of directorial debuts, it's not a debut, but it's like the English language movie debut, I think, of Del Toro. You know who I mean? I almost said Benicio del Toro. No, not him. The director, Guillermo del Toro. But anyways, and also they had to do like reshoots and things like that. So she basically blew her voice out from all the screaming. So her voice had not recovered when she was doing this movie. But Anton Fuqua apparently thought that was kind of cool and told her to go with it. So actually, she actually had to do extra screaming and yelling, I think, before each day of shooting, just to keep her voice in that state, which is kind of funny. So I hadn't known that either until I looked it up, but that's kind of an interesting detail. So there doesn't really need to be any other preamble, except the other thing is I'm not really sure what to do about the volume here. So whenever I do these things, obviously you don't want to overpower people with volume. I don't even know what I'm going to say about this movie. There's not too much to say as I go. But anyway, of the volume on pretty low and have subtitles on. But as you might expect, this is so bare bones. There's not even a subtitles option on this damn thing. And I don't want to watch the movie and not be able to hear what's going on at all. So I guess we'll fumble through as we go. Start in another minute. I mean, I don't think anybody's watching. I don't expect anybody to tune in. I didn't advertise this because I honestly did not know if I was going to be able to do it or not, or if I just would have the energy. But I don't know. Like I said, this is something just to give myself some energy, give myself something to do, and get myself back into the habit, I guess. I don't know. I'll be saying and stuff and a lot of my usual horrible tics, but I don't know. I just feel like if I get going, get into a rhythm, it'll help when I'm doing maybe more meaningful stuff than this, which is really kind of just a time killer. They're a placement killers from 1998, Anton Fuqua. Okay, so might as well start. So the first thing that comes up for me is like I think the Columbia logo. So I'm about a second into that when like the screen is all full of like light and then it zooms in. So I don't know. I know who's watching right now anyway, but anybody that's watching this in the future, because they want the definitive experience of watching their placement killers, which is me not inadvertently, not incoherently, intermittently babbling things throughout, because I haven't seen the movie in a while, and I don't have a lot of background information to give on it, so we'll see how this goes. But anyway, we'll do a countdown anyway for the sake of that, just in case. So we'll do 3, 2, 1, and then you press play. Also, maybe you can hear my fan on. It's very hot here today, and obviously windows open, so you can hear noise from outside. So it's not exactly the pristine, soundproof environment I like, but it's hot. And this being an older building, there's no air conditioning. I tell people stuff like that, and they're always sort of like amazed. I was like, well, I don't know. This is Nova Scotia. Air conditioning is in places, like if you go to a place of work or business, if you go to the movies, if you go to a restaurant, a mall, yeah, but it's not really in private homes or apartments. I mean, it's probably in newer apartments and condos and things, but it's not really a normal feature for most places. Because, I mean, the summer has gotten longer. Like last summer stretched right into October, which really pissed me off. But anyway, but still, I mean, on the whole, we don't really get days and days of heat, but we're right in the middle of it now. So this is a pretty hot day. So I have the fan on. I have to do what I have to do. So Anyway, I hope so. Hopefully that's not too distracting, but I think what'll be distracting enough is that I'm not really sure what to do about the volume because I can't put subtitles on because this is such a crappy edition of the movie I have. But anyway, do it. 3, 2, 1, click, and then we'll go. So 3, 2, 1, play. Here we go. I already know that's too loud, probably. So I will try to adjust it. I don't think anybody else will notice in this movie. Anything else in this? No names I really recognize, but people might know the names. But yeah, but Michael Rooker, he's like the cop in this. It's a bit like, oh, Danny Trejo, there's a name I know. So Danny Trejo's in there as somebody named Collins. Gee, I wonder if he's gonna be like an intimidating bad guy. I don't know. But this movie does have one thing I do remember is it has a really cool sort of look. Like maybe the script doesn't live up to it, but it has a good look. And this is a good opening too. Placement killers. I mean, you got to give Chow Yun Fat credit. He's not phoning this in, even though I'm sure he knows this isn't like going to be a classic or anything like that. I mean, at the time, who knows? Like, is he trying to break into the American market after being a Hong Kong superstar? I don't know. Not really sure. Oh, yeah. So it's 1998. People look at you. So okay, I got to turn that down. That's obviously too loud. Oh, look, it's opening in a cool 90s club. Same year as Blade. Reminds you of Blade. They're not all vampires, but look, it reminds you of like Blade walking into the vampire nightclub. So yeah, I think that's the Crystal Method. They were all the rage back then, kids. Oh, his hair's all slicked back. I also don't. Again, there's not like a lot of dialogue or anything. You know, it's mostly action things. But I do remember like really actually enjoying Mira Sorvino's character. So I don't know. She's probably just kind of like a stock character, spunky, blonde. I don't know. We'll find out. It's the one bullet down. Does that mean job is done? Can't read the Chinese character on that. Sorry. Oh, it doesn't mean job's done. It means you're the job, I guess. Nice of him to give him a heads up before it blows him away. And the bodyguards are really slow on the draw. I like that guy's jacket. Ah, John Woo has learned a bit at this time because that gun actually ran out of bullets, so he discarded it and brought out a new gun. Because, yeah, in a lot of his more classic ones, the handguns, you never see reloading or anything like that. They just have as many bullets as they need for the shot. So he killed like 4 people there in front of many witnesses, which does not really seem like the smooth, efficient way of killing somebody. I mean, they are dead, but all right. Directed by Antoine Fuqua, right? Fuqua, Fuqua. I hope I'm saying that right. So that job worked out fine, I guess. He didn't seem to have any problem doing it in front of dozens of witnesses. What are we looking at? What is this pan? I'm already lost. I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at. Oh, it's water. Okay. It's the wake of a speedboat. So this takes place in Los Angeles, but of course has a big connection to like the Chinese crime community there, triads or whatever have you. There hasn't been any dialogue yet, so I don't know how much I'm going to struggle trying to hear the dialogue because I don't want to have a bunch of noise on the track here. 1998, it's funny, also the same year as Lethal Weapon 4, which takes place in, I think, Los Angeles and has a big focus on the Chinese criminal underworld there. And that's, I think, the American film debut of, although he's not a starring role, he's still a pretty prominent guy, Jet Li. Jet Li is one of the bad guys in that. He's really awesome. He's what makes that movie worthwhile. Actually, I think Lethal Weapon 4 is a lot better than 3. I think 3 is kind of a crappy movie. The only thing I like about Lethal Weapon 3 is that's where Joe Pesci's character really gets to shine. He has some very funny dialogue in that movie. He has some scenes where he's really funny, but I think like the plot itself is kind of forgettable. The main bad guy is in no way cool or intimidating or memorable. Anyway, I don't know who the bad guy in this is either. Find out. Kenneth Sang might be. I don't know. I'm not sure. So what is this? Some sort of sting operation? Arms deal? What do we got here? It's close up on the handgun there. Is that Michael Rooker? I can't even tell. Looks like him. Is it Michael Rooker with like a weird, stupid goatee? Told you I'm bad at recognizing people. I need that Michael Rooker voice. So I assume, yeah, it's a bust or a sting or whatever. And it turns into a shootout. What a surprise. Yeah, it's Michael Rooker. He's leading this operation. So they're busting some Chinese gangsters with an arms deal or a drug deal or, you know, whatever. You know, I did do, speaking of Jet Li, I did do on this channel solo commentary of the Jet Li film Romeo Must Die, which is cheesy, but I still get a good amount of enjoyment out of that. So, anyway, you want to hear me talk about that? You can watch that one. That actually has a lot of views because I think people were looking for the movie, which is always annoying. Like I put live commentary in the title, so when people want to insult you and leave nasty comments. Oh, my worker's like, "Don't you make me do it," but he had to. There are actually daylight. Here we go. So far, it's all been dark, but here we go. A daylight scene. So we got a funeral. The guy that just fell. Who's it for? I don't know. I'm gonna be straining to figure out what's going on in this because again, there's no subtitles. Okay, yeah. So the funeral of the guy that we just saw die, killed by the cop. Lots of white. White is the mourning color. It's weird because there's lots of white, which is the traditional mourning color, but I guess maybe they wanted to adopt, since they're in America, the American tradition also here of, you know, wearing black. So it is mostly black. People are wearing black. I mean, you got the kid and the woman in the traditional white, but everyone else is pretty much in black, which is the Western custom. Although, again, you got the white flag things up there. Michael Rooker's here. It's like, yeah, that's right, kid. I shot your daddy. Gave me no choice. I'm going to assume the older guy here is like the head of some crime family. Oh, there's a white guy with him. Is he talking? Oh, shit. Yeah, this is going to be difficult. I don't know what he's saying. I mean, how crappy can you get? There's not even a subtitle option on this. I always think I'm going to watch Truth or Consequences, and I'm like, nah. Yeah, I feel like if I put it up to listen to the dialogue, once we get into the shooting scenes, it'll be really loud and distracting again. So, what can you do? So, yeah, there is a white guy there who's with the family there, so he's. I have no idea what they just talked about. Probably some veiled threat or something. There's one thing the Chinese and Americans have in common. They like fireworks and firecrackers. All right, so he's obviously in Chinatown. And it's the typical Chow Yun Fat. He's in a very nice suit. He's got dark sunglasses on. Chow Yun-fat's a tall guy too, like not super tall, but super tall by Chinese standards. He's like 6'1", 6'2". So in a lot of those Hong Kong movies, he towers over a lot of the people that he's with. In this, not so much. Here, he's more of an average size guy. Wow, there's literally a pig there. I don't think there's any Chinatown that's in the 90s. I don't know. What do I know? It seems weird, though, that there would actually be a pig, a live pig. So this is obviously some sort of secret place. This is where he goes to get his jobs, maybe. So it's this intricate world of assassins. It's really been brought to the forefront in something like the John Wick movies, which I love. They're really good movies, and they show that you still, they're some of the only decent, like, non-foreign. So yeah, I want everybody to speak Cantonese in this, because if they speak Cantonese, then there'll be subtitles for me to read. But I was gonna say, action movies, some of the best non-foreign action movies around that are still left are the John Wick films. But I'm not so big a fan of that world. Like, they've created this intricate world of assassins and codes of honor and weird rules and coins that you pay for stuff with, and a hotel where things are neutral, and a whole, I don't know, it's like a whole call center full of heavily tattooed middle-aged women, and I don't know. It's, I mean, you got to do something, and I don't hate it or anything. I don't really like it. It does not grab me. I don't care is more the thing. I'm just like, whatever, just get to the part where John Wick kills people. So speaking of kills, like Keanu Reeves, those movies, I remember reading a few years ago, like the actors with like the most confirmed on-screen kills. And it's not really what you think it is if you really look into it. Like somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Chuck Norris are not, they're there, but they're not nearly as high as you might think they'd be. But anyway, I don't think Keanu Reeves was on the list, but it was like from a few years ago, so I don't know. Keanu Reeves would definitely probably be on the list now because of the kill count that he got in 3 John Wick movies and the 4th coming out. But for those, this is unconfirmed. This was from, I can't remember what the name of the site was. Screen something? I don't know. Screen Rant, maybe? Anyway, it's unconfirmed, but they said, like, by their count, the actor with the most on-screen kills is actually Hong Kong star Jimmy Wang Yu. A lot of people, probably the name doesn't even jump out at them, but I mean, I can believe it because he was in tons of movies, and he was also in the more old school kind of like kung fu movies where the hero like killed everybody. You know, not like a Jackie Chan where, yeah, Jackie Chan has killed people here and there in movies, but for the most part, you know, he just beats them up. He doesn't kill them. But in a lot of the old school like Shaw Brothers stuff and from the 70s and things, they rack up quite a kill count. So Jimmy Wang Yu had like well over 2,000 on-screen kills, putting him way at the top. Second, I don't know if I really agreed with it because I don't know if all the kills count because a lot of them I thought were zombie kills because they had what is her name, Mila Jovovich or however you say it, you know, she's like second, and by virtue of all the killing she does in all those Resident Evil movies, which makes sense because there's a ton of them, and she does kill people in that, like she kills like Umbrella or operatives and things, but doesn't she mostly kill zombies and monsters? So I don't know if that counts. I mean, I don't think killing zombies is the same thing as killing humans, right? So I don't know. So I think that's sort of dubious, her being second on that. But anyway, Chow Yun-fat is, as you might expect, on the list too. But yeah, I was actually sort of shocked when I saw, because Jimmy Wang Yu, for somebody like me who at least knows who he is and seen movies he's in, it's like I never would have thought of him, but it makes sense. So yeah, all the more impressive in that like most of his movies, he's not even shooting people. He's having a much more hands-on approach, like hacking them with a sword or something else. So this is okay. So this is the job. It wasn't the first job. So in response to that guy getting killed by the cop on that sting, our hero here, or anti-hero, I need a name. John Lee. So that's Chow Yun-fat's character. He's been contracted to kill this cop. But here's the cop playing with his kid, and he's like, "Oh, I can't do it." He's got him in the sights, in the scope of the sniper rifle, but he can't do it. He can't gun the guy down when he's playing with his kid, and that's going to be the whole thing that sets off the chain of events here. If you don't fulfill your contract, they put one out on you. I mean, I don't know. Michael Rooker already has a very distinct look. He's got like a heavy jaw. It's not even I don't know, goatee. But anyway, that whole situation is not helping it. It makes him look ridiculous. Right, so John Lee would not pull the trigger. And that's going to blow up in his face, as often does in these assassination movies. Said it already happened to him in The Far Superior, The Killer. Nice statue of Buddha there. Speak some more Cantonese so I can actually decipher some of this dialogue. Okay, yeah, so Mr. Wei was the head of the triad here. There's going to be consequences because I didn't do what Mr. Wei told me to. That's interesting. So, I mean, they're in L.A. right now, but his mother and sister are back in Shanghai, and he thinks they're not safe there. So he's trying to make arrangements that they can be moved out. So I guess it's supposed to show just how far Mr. Wei's influence and power goes, because obviously he's a powerful figure in L.A., but they're not even safe from him in Shanghai either. So he must have a lot of contacts and stuff there. How great. And again, like happens in a lot of these things, two Chinese characters who are speaking Chinese or Cantonese to each other, but now suddenly, because it's more poignant, the guy is speaking English to him. And we can't hear it. And I worry if I turn it up to hear it, there'll just be a lot of noise. So here's the white guy that was with Wei's family. He's obviously important. Is watching some woman and kid. Oh, that's right. That's the wife and kid of the guy that got killed. The start of this. Let's see what it says here at the start. Exactly happens. So that's Stan Zedkov. So he killed Peter Wei, and his father. Yeah, that's what it is. So Peter Wei was the son of the boss. Wei. That was a weird. I looked down for a second, and now what's happening? Eddie. I don't really remember this guy. You'd think I would. Nice 90s cell phone. Does Eddie get killed? He probably gets killed. He seems like the type of character, he helps the good guy. Oh, that's a good kick, though. He got himself a free Pepsi. Okay, so Eddie is going to hook. Oh, now I remember. He needs to flee. So she's like some sort of forger. Like she can forge like fake passports and documents. That's what it is. That's what it is. So he's called Eddie. I don't know. So Eddie's going to put him in contact with her. So that's who Mira Sorvino is. I think she's like a professional forger. So yeah, see, he's trying to get somebody to get him some documents so he can get out of the country, I guess. So let's see what her name is. Her name is Meg. Okay, then. Oh, here she is. Mira Sorvino. I don't really know what I know her best for, or what. This is really the movie I think of when I think of her, honestly, which is kind of funny. I already know that's too loud, but I just try to hear some of the dialogue. It's such a pain that these don't have subtitles. You get what you pay for, and this was cheap as hell, so. I like her fashion sense. No, that is you, honey. Yeah, I guess I can hear a little bit of it, that her voice is a little kind of raspy, I guess. Again, I can't really remember what her ordinary voice sounds like, but apparently her voice is a bit strained and more raspy here because of all the screaming she did for Mimic. Let's see. That's a great printer. This old school setup she's got here. Oh, the gun underneath the table. You can't outdraw John Lee. So again, I can't quite make out the dialogue here, but I got anything. I need you to give me some papers, blah, blah, blah. And she's trying to make sure he's not a cop or something, I guess. There, he made that very clear and straightforward. Forged papers, please. Forge that shit. Turn it up again. I can't stand not hearing. And how much is that going to cost? Her voice sounds pretty normal to me. I don't know. Maybe it's more noticeable in some scenes than others. I'm not sure. He's getting all ready to draw and shoot. And of course, he's got tons of money. Because that's one thing that's always in these movies about assassins. Whenever these assassins, something happens and they do have to go on the run, they're usually somewhat prepared for it. They've got a lot of money stashed away. So it's pretty believable. Especially when you have them living that sort of life that shows up in those movies. Like, they actually lead very Spartan existences, and they just sort of live the work. So, like, they get paid all this money, and they don't do anything with it. I guess because the idea is just one more, and then I can, retire really in style or comfort or whatever. All right, here we go. Casio camera. I know Casio makes cameras, but I never associate them with that. I think, like the keyboards they make. John Lee. The world needs another John Lee. Wow, they're fast. People are already looking for him, or are they looking for her? This movie doesn't make you wait much. The scenes between the action scenes are short. So are they here for her or him? In any case, they mean business. Oh. That's too late for me, Styles. I've been on a more early schedule lately. I can't believe how much stuff Jay's been doing lately. Like, I've been off for like a month. He's been doing tons of stuff. And the other night, it was too bad because they did one I really would have liked to have done. They did like, what'd they do? They did that pirate movie, Cutthroat Island, which I actually had never seen before until like a year ago, and I got the MGM app or whatever. And, I'd always heard there was a big flop and everything. I watched it. I pretty much enjoyed it. So I felt really bad when I found out they did that and they didn't even tell me. I wouldn't have been able to make it anyway, though. It was too late. So right now, it'll change. I always move forward. But right now, that's why I'm here right now this early. Is like I'm on a more early schedule. So I don't know. And he didn't even tell me. So I don't know. So that's okay. But he and I do have some stuff that we'll eventually get back to in the next little while. But he's been doing all sorts of late night stuff that I'm just not in the mode for anyway. So I can't really complain about him not telling me about it because I think he knows that I couldn't do it anyway. She's got her gun out. Maybe she shot a couple of them too. I don't know. I missed a lot of that. Ooh, there's a good one for the poster. They didn't use it, but there they are. Yeah, 3.5 hours, I'll be in bed. I do remember at some point she gets like a really nasty leg injury, and they do a really great job of showing like how painful it. I just remember wincing every time I see it. We're a while from that because I know it's closer to the end. I mean, he's out. It's 2-1, but this guy's on the offensive. She's there. Where's Lee? Above? Can you guess above? Oh yeah. Honestly, I'm more sorted now. It'd be better to stay like this. I just never can. So the cops get her, but they don't keep her because I mean, what can they keep her on? People trying to kill her? I don't know. Of course, if they have probable cause to go into her apartment, they might find some interesting things. I don't know how that works. Well, crime does pay. Look how much it pays. Thank you for stopping by, at least. I didn't really expect anybody, honestly, because this was so impromptu, and it's not exactly like a big, awesome movie that people really want to see. It wasn't about myself. But, I think every once in a while it helps me to do ones solo. That's why I do them every once in a while. Right now, again, it's just to get myself back in the feel of things. I wish I had more interesting things to say about the movie, but this is the movie I picked, and I'm sticking to it. How did it perform? It wasn't a flop because it made 39.5 million off of 30 million budget, so not a flop, but certainly not any sort of resounding success. I mean, I guess the most important thing about it was that it was Anton Fuqua's first feature-length film that he got to direct. And he's gone on to be a fairly successful director with some pretty notable movies, and he's still, going. Hey. Placement Killers was something Fuqua said. It was a good and bad experience. It was great because Chow Yun-fat is the coolest guy in the world. He was beautiful. Mira Sorvino was cool. It was fun working with Mira. But the difficult thing was learning the studio system, learning all the things that go along with that system. A lot of people that have a lot of say, especially with you. Yeah, okay, so it's the typical sort of film thing. Studio interference. Oh, can you believe it? Although he doesn't allude to like there being like some like badass director's cut of this that maybe exists somewhere. Like, oh, we have all this cool stuff and they made us cut it out. There doesn't say anything about that, so I don't really know. And of course, here's Michael Rooker to interview her. I remember those cups. I don't think you can get those cups anymore. That pattern. Is this the guy? This sketch artist? You mean a Chinese guy? I mean, if they wanted her to have the gritty voice, they didn't need her to scream. They just needed her to work with him. Michael Rooker could give her gritty voice tips. Because there was a Michael Rooker that existed before he was blue, saying, "I'm Mary Poppins, y'all." Okay, so they do have stuff on her. They've got lots of evidence that she forges. So maybe they don't let her go. Maybe, I mean, obviously she gets out of custody somehow. Okay, now they're bringing up Terrence Way. Yeah, we're going to deal with him now. I don't know if it's makeup or a lack of makeup or something, or if it's part of the. But her character looks kind of like coked out. I think that's probably the point. They don't actually show her doing it, but maybe it's implied, or maybe it's just she's one of those burning the candle at both ends type of characters. Maybe. In any case, Mira Sorvino is still very attractive, but they do the thing that she looks kind of strung out. I guess is what it is. I need to look and see what her other movies are because I'm completely blanking. Although I know I've seen her in plenty of things. Obviously, we mentioned that she's in Mimic just before this. Her first movie was, wow, that crappy movie, The Stuff, where she just had some small uncredited part. Factory worker. But let's see. I mean, yeah, not really any big movie. It's just sort of all around. In the final cut, which is terrible. See, I mean, I'm right. She's in all sorts of stuff, but nothing really that good. And if she's in like movies like as a starring role, it's nothing I've seen. She's just one of those people that's just always been around. And yeah, this is easily the movie that I know best that she's in. I mean, she's in Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. That was the year before this, which I guess a lot of people might remember. The only thing I remember about that is on the soundtrack was the only way to get because it's not on any of his albums. It's Ben Folds, or I think it would have been Ben Folds 5 at the time, doing a cover of the song "Doctor My Eyes." I think that's the only way to get that song or that version of the song. In the 1999 Summer of Sam movie about the Son of Sam killer. I mean, she's steadily worked. She's been in tons of stuff. She's in stuff now. She's got some stuff coming up. She's in a couple movies in 2020, a few different movies in 2021. Did she ever get to do a Hong Kong movie? How old is she now? She's 54. She played Marilyn Monroe in a movie. That's interesting because isn't there like a new Marilyn Monroe movie coming out? Somebody playing her? Oh, nice. I'm missing some fan service here. Yeah, don't do up that shirt. You look good like that. She puts a coat on, but she still. I like your style, Meg. Okay, so I miss why they let her go, but they let her go. Probably it's one of those things. We watch her, she'll lead us to the bigger fish. I don't know. There she is. Uh-oh, more assassins, or is it John? I genuinely don't know. It's been too long. I'm gonna guess it's John. Good dog tags? Yeah, it's John. I was ready to stab you through the face with these scissors. I think Mira Sorvino, isn't she one of the ones that said like Harvey Weinstein like came down to her? Yeah. Yeah, the way she said, yeah, she was the one with Ashley Judd that both said that, yeah. Peter Jackson said that both Sorvino and Ashley Judd were possibly up for the role of, I'm guessing, because it only makes sense, to be the role of Arwen in The Lord of the Rings. And that basically they weren't considered because Weinstein had like spread like misinformation that they were bad to work with. But what actually came down to was like they'd actually spurned his advances. So it could have been a Mira Sorvino. It's hard to see her in that role. I could definitely see Ashley Judd. I mean, it worked out with Liv Tyler. But, yeah, because there's people that like obviously Weinstein actually did assault, but I think in the case of her, she more or less put him off. I guess he was never as aggressive with her as he was with some other people. She dated Quentin Tarantino. She was dating him around the time of this movie, actually. What's interesting is Tarantino, it came out with the Harvey Weinstein thing, saying like, I knew a lot of stuff and I didn't do anything. He's like, I feel it's enough of that. Business stuff again. There's an old school looking car. I don't even know what happened there. Did she agree to help him? Because I know that they wind up teamed up, with whether she likes it or not. So let's see. Yeah, I was right. The detectives basically let her out as bait because they want to see who's coming after her. Yeah. So a couple out of town guys are going to get hired. Some outside help. Assassins are going to get hired, and I think Danny Trejo is one of them. Oh, shit. Sore. Sore from what? What did I do today? Nothing. Sore from nothing. I'll get some exercise. Maybe tomorrow. Just so fucking hot today. I almost went to the theater. And then I did. Cool story, bro. I haven't been to the theater in a while, so maybe get out to see something this way. I like to see everything. What is it called? Everything, everywhere, all at once, or something. I'd like to see that. That's playing. So, what's going on in the movie in front of me? What is this? Yeah, I mean, I dig this movie. Again, I get that there's nothing particularly special about it. Mira Sorvino's tall. Taller than me, that's for sure. Sometimes when I think of this movie, I get it mixed up with not. I don't get the movie itself mixed up, but I get the titles mixed up with. I think it's Maximum Risk, which was another late '90s movie. It was a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Okay, so here's the white guy that's part of Way's organization. He's caught them. How are you going to get out of this one? They didn't get far at all. Here's where she's going to be like, you don't need me. You can kill this guy. I don't care. I'm just going to leave. Because his name is John. They cuffed him? It's one of those bring him in alive type deals. So Mr. Way can make an example of them. I don't know. I'm going to pay for that. Meg O. Oh, yeah. Like, that hurts just watching it. But then later we get to see what it looks like. He just stomps right down on her knee. Brutal. There we go. Down again for the shooting. Like, this movie's action is fine, but it is lacking any like really truly memorable scenes. I guess they're fine, but they don't have the same oomph as like I mean, nothing does have the same oomph as like a John Woo movie. But I mean, there's other, even besides John Woo, who was the king of it. There are some other good gunfight type movies. Heat has a really impressive one. I know there's others that I can't really think of, but Johnny So, or however you say his name, he's done some good ones in the last few years. Actually, there's still a few on my list I need to watch because I haven't gotten around to them. They're in a car wash. I just figured that out. Well, that's quite the gun this guy's got. What the hell is that thing? Some sort of assault rifle, I guess. Assault rifle. I don't even know if that's a specific term. And supposedly Adolf Hitler is the person that coined the term assault rifle. That's what I've heard. So we'll see. When I guess the very first of those weapons emerged. I don't fully automatic weapons. Whatever. Got here. That guy's got one too. I mean, they're not AKs. I know an AK when I see them, which is like them in real life, like the busiest, the hardest working gun in the world is like the AK. Like if you got an unstable country with like war or rebellions or a bunch of terrorists, there's a lot of AKs involved. They're cheap to manufacture and they're effective and blah blah blah. But anyway, these are fancier guns, as you might expect. These are big time. Well, these guys aren't. It's interesting because it's not all triad. So the triad's obviously working with some local elements here. Okay, I don't know about. I was gonna say I don't know about that sliding until I realized. Okay, he's not just sliding on pavement. He's on one of those things that mechanics go on so they can go in and under cars on their backs. Because at first I'm just like, there's no way he can slide. Oh, nice, boom. So I'll give the movie credit for that because I'm not aware of another movie that uses that for a guy shooting. Oh. Well, there's still one guy left. Oh, the main guy. Smart, he'll get the hell out of there. John Lee just wasted his guys. She's pretty smart. She gets some grease and greases herself up to get out of the handcuffs. But a key works best. So she's pretty hobbled. So is she like for the rest of the movie? Because I mean, eventually they're gonna have one of those downtime scenes where he like has to like rip part of her pants to show it, and you see like how messed up her leg is. But yeah, just every time they show that, just the guy's just viciously like stomping down on an angle of like where your knee sort of meets your shin. Like, oh my god. Like even with like she's down on the ground, so it's not standing up. But I was thinking about that. If you're like two fighters square in front of each other, a side kick to the knee, if delivered with enough force and accurate, can like really disable somebody. And Bruce Lee was a big fan of it for the purposes of self-defense. And if thinking about that, you'd actually have shoes on, so you could really mess somebody up. So I've always thought it would be a good thing to do. And some people are upset that it's not illegal in like MMA. And you'll see somebody like John Jones does it a lot. And you really can mess somebody up, even with not shoes on, barefoot strike. And we've seen him attempt it on several opponents. And they're just lucky that he didn't hit them clean. Well, it's not just luck, I guess. I mean, they're professional fighters. They're maybe checking the kick or moving out of the way or whatever it is you have to do. I know a little something about taking kicks, but not much, I've only done I have not done much contact sparring in either Muay Thai or Taekwondo. I never got the opportunity to do very much. So most of the sparring I did was, no touch. So never had to worry about that. But I like contact. That's one of the reasons I got into martial arts when I got older was, I hadn't played hockey in years anymore. And I'd always liked martial arts. I like contact. I'm just as happy to take a hit to give a hit. which is really not the Taekwondo mindset. You're not supposed to do that. Like when you spar in Taekwondo, the whole idea is to get in, kick, deliver your hit, get out. Like the point fighting thing, right? Like, but I can never have a point fighting mindset. So mine is get in, accept a hit if you need it to get your hit in. It's not like I don't try to get out of the way, but I would often think, it's acceptable to take a hit to give, which is not the mindset you should have at all to do proper sparring or point fighting in Taekwondo. Like that attitude will not serve you at like any competition or the Olympics or anything like that, because the whole thing is deliver hits and not take hits. But that's why things like that are really unsatisfying to watch, really, because then even though you get like two really highly skilled, not just black belts, but like among the best black belts in Taekwondo, but it just looks like a game of foot tag. You can't really appreciate it. That's why full contact I really like. Oh, hi, Biz. It's nice to have you drop by on this. This is a fairly impromptu thing, so I wasn't really expecting anybody. I've been tired and lacking energy, which is one of the reasons I'm doing this, is to sort of get myself back in, because I haven't been on a stream or doing any videos in a while, and I just want to get myself back into it. So this is sort of just a little warm-up or practice, which is why there wasn't much prep or anything, or why I picked a movie that does not have much, probably, appeal. Oh, the arrival of the assassin. So there's that guy. The other guy's Danny Trejo, right? Let me see. Just to prove they're bad guys. Oh. Pats the girl on the head. Very nice. But the black gloves are kind of... Yeah, and there's Danny Trejo. I don't think I've ever seen Danny Trejo dressed up so dapper. He's got like a leather jacket on, gold chain. Anyway, so they're going to be the main opponents going forward. There's some out-of-town killers. Okay, yeah, so you get a good look at her. Her knee does... Yeah, you can see her knee's just all bruised. But he's going to, like, try to set it. I remember it as worse, It's one of those things you build up in your head. What's on her hand? Is that a tattoo? That looks awful. I hope Mira Sorvino doesn't really have a tattoo like that, because it looks terrible. She's tall. I don't think I ever noticed. I can hear her dialogue, but he's really muttering. So. Again, not having the option of subtitles is really hurting. It's not a movie where dialogue is super important, but you still want to be able to make some of it out. I mean, you describe it as him fucking Terrence Way, but what he did was refuse to murder a man while he was playing with his kid. So. Context, lady. So she's 54 now. I'm bad at math. It would have been early 30s, I guess. Oh, finally, Chow Yun-fat's doing something. Let's just stop pointing guns at each other and try to do something constructive. It's a cool effect on the wall. Is that like water, or is that just the way the light is hitting dust? It's kind of hard to make out. Your half-hearted ashtray attack has no effect on my style. So I wonder what the situation is with his money. So I remember a few years ago reading that he was like in the process of like giving away all his money, because Chow Yun-fat has way more money than you even think he would. Like he was worth like more than $800 million US, which is just crazy. Like, but like apparently he was a really frugal guy that didn't spend it on much and didn't even like buying new clothes and would often ride for public transportation and stuff. So he just had all this money. So I remember 4 or 5 years ago reading that like, he decided there was no point in him having all this money, that he was giving it away, I guess, to various charities. So I don't know where that's at right now. I'm sure he's still working. I think he's so prolific. Did she say she's sorry, or did she say I'm 30? Shit, once again, I don't know what they're saying. They're muttering. I have the volume down low. I don't know what's happening. What is that effect on the wall? She's still not won over. Usually this is the part of the movie where like she would be like won over, but her character is a little bit different. She's like, all right, I won't shoot you, but I still don't like you. True though. Somebody has saved your life a couple times, but also the only reason they saved your life is because they put your life in danger in the first place. So that is a little conflicting. Ooh, fade to black. Old faded photograph of family. Once again, back to Triad compound. We're gonna get some more. No. Keep speaking Cantonese, then I can actually tell what's happening. So if she studied in Beijing, she probably was learning Mandarin. Some fireworks going off for some goddamn reason. I hear them, but I don't see them. Can't see shit from where I am. Big building blocks everything up. What's the occasion? Last day of July. Okay. Only a few more hours left in July, people. Smoke them if you got them. All right, so the new assassins are checking in with Mr. Wei. Oh, damn it, that's annoying. Hopefully it doesn't last. Not because of my riveting commentary, just because I'm trying to watch the movie. Ooh, his father was a gentleman. I like how he just tells her there that his father taught him how to shoot, and she says playing catch is so impersonal. I'm thinking, what position are you coming from, American? You're the much more gun happy country than this guy. We got some rain, but is it only for the car, or will it be rain later? I can't remember. Seems like a very John Woo thing to have a scene in the rain. Again, I know it's not John Woo, but this movie's kind of like a somewhat of an imitation of a John Woo film, which is one of the reasons I like it, actually. Sure, it's not nearly as good, but I still like it, and it still is Chow Yun-fat. God damn, fireworks. So where are we at here? Some sort of arcade place. I mean, again, it's just another set piece to have like a gunfight in, right? Arcade. Oh, cool! In the back, the X-Men game is there, like the classic one, the 4-player one. We used to have that at my theater here, so I was going to say it wasn't that long ago, but it was more than 15 years ago now that I think about it. But yeah, I used to play that one there with friends. There's a cool idiot with a gold teeth. Both of them are taller than him. What do they need this idiot for? I'm trying to make out some of the arcade machines there, but they go awfully fast. Uh-oh. Is that idiot snitching on them? Cell phone with a little antenna coming out. It's 1998, people. What do you want? Getting really annoyed by those fireworks. I don't know how well they're showing up here, but they're driving me nuts. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the character. I don't think Mira Sorvino really has that tattoo. Who knows? Painful place for a tattoo, back of the hand. I wouldn't do it. Down here, not up here. Jesus. Well, I guess we don't have to worry about my fan drowning anything out. What are they here for? Why did they come? Yeah, I guess the thing is they're still kind of going after that cop too, right? Just because he wouldn't do the job didn't mean that the job is off. So we haven't seen Michael Rooker in a while, but he's still a target. Holy God, what is going on? It's like the 1812 overture over there. Jesus. Yeah, his family's still in danger. Was it his mother and sister? Something like that. So they were in one of those crappy little photo booths. And they're heart to heart there. They've been snitched on by Gold Grill Guy or Gold Tooth Guy or whatever. So it's just a matter of time before the movie fireworks. This is unbelievable. I don't know what the fuck this is. It's really bothering me. July 31st is not anything. What? Forget it. All right, so there's assassin number 1. Of course, they don't know what he looks like. You're not very good at that, John. I love how he's like digging his fingers like into the back of her head. Oh, briefcase gun. Very cool. You think? I can't believe I forgot that guy. Put the volume down again. Trejo's up above. Oh, all those pinball machines. The movie is basically like a lot of things. Like each place is just an action set piece. It's like, okay, we have an apartment. That's pretty normal. Then we've got a car wash. Now we've got an arcade. This is a clean-shaven Danny Trejo. You don't see that often. Usually he's got like a mustache going. You would say that Danny Trejo's face has a lot of character, which is why he's a character actor. Which is a good way of saying not handsome. Oh, Altered Beast. Nice. In 1998, Altered Beast was already pretty old. I was playing that the other day. Such a shit game, but it takes like 10 seconds to beat it too. I mean, the idea of having like a side scroll and beat 'em up, but the screen is actually constantly pushing you forward. Ugh. But primitive old. It's one of the only games I ever actually. I only had very limited time with the Sega Master System, the system that predated the Genesis. I only got to play it a couple times, and that's like one of the only games I ever played on it was the Master System edition. She's running pretty well. I guess his amazing healing hands did the job on her knee. Parking garage. Waste that woman. Oh, that was a really weird. Oh, that's some strange camera work there. Oh, collateral damage. I forgot about that weird, like, racing forward camera thing. Speaking again of Jean-Claude Van Damme, I think they do something kind of like that in the movie. What is it? Man, I cannot believe that's still going. But Knockoff. So, speaking of like fake sort of Hong Kong movies, that movie takes place in Hong Kong. It stars Jean-Claude Van Damme and for some reason Rob Schneider. But that movie has like every single annoying camera technique you've ever heard of, all crammed into one. Like that movie's got everything. It's got weird like spinning the camera around and really close-ups and then faraway shots and slow motion and doing that thing where the camera goes inside things, like inside a gun or inside like a piece of machinery. Okay, they wasted the cops. Okay, both are still here. Okay. I get it. These guys are really serious. They just wasted some cops. But anyway, that movie, Knockoff, is a total mess. It's worth watching, but it's a complete mess of a movie. I think that's the last Jean-Claude Van Damme movie I saw in theater. He didn't get too many theatrical releases after that. That was the same year as this, I think. That was also 1998. I'm trying to think. It's not the last I saw, because I think 1998 was the first of the Universal Soldier sequels. I think 99 was Universal Soldier: The Returner, it was called, which is a god-awful movie. Don't even watch it to make fun of it. It's terrible. Piece of shit. Then years later, he did 2 more Universal Soldiers, but they really changed the tone of them. They're really odd. They're better movies, and I enjoy them. But yeah. In the latest one, from a few years ago, like, it's weird. They almost flip it, like Jean-Claude Van Damme's now like the bad guy, and like Scott Adkins is the hero. Scott Adkins, of course, is a great martial artist that starred in quite a few not so great movies, but has shown up as like sort of a henchman or whatever, fighting in things like he's in one of the Jason Bourne movies where he actually fights Matt Damon. It's like an example of the way editing works in most like Hollywood action movies, because you have Matt Damon, a guy that maybe has a little bit of a stunt experience, a little bit of fighting experience, but he's no martial artist, versus like a career martial artist. But they edit in such a way to make it look like he's a match for him and can even beat him. That's nothing new. Maybe that's finally the end of those goddamn fireworks. All right, so for some reason, I guess they're going straight to the source, because I guess they're at Way's compound. What, are you going to kill Way? What is happening here? Lee and Coburn insist on helping. Arrive barely in time to. Okay, we're not there yet. Yeah, I'm trying to read like the plot synopsis here, but as you might expect, it leaves things out. It's not helping. But anyway, they came back and they killed his monk friend, who was the first guy he talked to, who he asked to help make arrangements to protect his mother and sister. Saying they're in danger, the Way's going to find them. Because, once again, speaking Cantonese, so I can get some subtitles. Something in my pocket. Jesus, it's not finished. So distracted. What's that box? I think Chow Yun Fat always has that bit of hair coming down, kind of like Superman. Like a trademark. Oh, your monk friend is dead. He got you a British passport. Oh, somewhere. Yeah, I'm not used to being tired this early at night, but that's the way my sort of sleep pattern's been lately. So this is partially to help me stay up a bit later. Like I said, give myself some energy at night, get back into my rhythm. But once this is done, I'll probably be going to bed pretty soon. So whatever Jay or other people are doing, they can do it without me. They're fine. Don't scream at the Buddha. What kind of fat golden god would allow this, Buddha? I guess that's one thing that makes it different from a John Woo film, is that while John Woo is Chinese, he's actually is Christian, which is why there's all sorts of Christian imagery and things in his movies, especially like Catholic stuff, like Christian churches and crosses and things like that. So this movie has avoided that, and instead of going to, yeah. So, I mean, that was obviously some sort of Buddhist temple or whatever they were at. Back when you could still smoke a cigarette in a movie and not be a bad guy. I'm anti-smoking too. Like, I don't think you should smoke. It's not a good habit or anything like that. But I don't think like it's the worst thing in the world to have like a character in a movie smoke. Like, it's like the hero can't smoke. He did a number on that cigarette too. It's interesting because I can remember being young and impressionable and sometimes thinking a smoking character was cool, but it still didn't make me want to smoke, which is kind of the same thing here as like the guns thing. They're here blowing people away and stuff. None of that and I don't mean murder. Like, watching it makes me want to kill people. I mean, none of it makes me want to like go fire a gun off at a range either. Like John Woo himself said, like the thing that made John Woo famous was crazy gunplay in movies. John Woo, at the least, unless he's done it in the last few years, like in a fairly recent interview, said, "I've never fired a real gun in my entire life." So you can separate reality and fantasy. So just because something is cool in a movie doesn't mean you automatically want to do it in real life. I don't think. At least that's not how most people work. So, I mean, you can make all the cool actors smoke. It's not going to make somebody like me want to smoke. But I guess people are impressionable, I guess. And I'm not saying I wasn't impressionable in any way. I just can't really think of a thing where I saw something in a movie and thought like I should do it, unless you talk to maybe about martial arts or something, I guess. And even that had a pretty delayed response. I didn't get into martial arts until I was well into adulthood. Okay, so we're flashing back to him remembering not shooting the cop with the kid. I think they try to help the cop because he realizes the cop is still a target. Another one of their heart-to-heart sitting on the bed in the hotel moments. Wow, she's got like her jacket or whatever done up like this much. Meg's a good character, but it's crucial to the plot that we always see her bare midriff. Okay, so now he did tell her the full story, so she knows now. So now she's not just saying, "You can't fuck with Wei." She knows that he wouldn't shoot a kid. Another yawn's coming on. It's embarrassing. It's not like me. I mean, check my channel. Check Movie Discussion Pocket Dimension. Find me yawning. I defy you in hundreds of hours to find me yawning. And yet here I'm yawning. I'm gonna do John. So I think this is a chance where he could. I think what's happening here is he can get out now, but he's going to choose to stay so that he can protect the cop and his family or something like that. He can put himself in the line. Throwing dice in the alley. Oh, there's that idiot that snitched on them in the arcade. So who we got here? Oh, nice. They must have figured it out. I remember this scene. Something I actually remember. Whoa. I think that's the. Well, actually, I don't know. Probably somebody said fuck before this. As I said, I've had a lot of this down, so I couldn't hear the dialogue. I mean, it's pretty realistic, I guess. I mean, yeah, they got guns, but so do all these, these are L.A. criminals. They were all packing. That's a little weird. Why would? I mean, couldn't they order her to leave him alone? They've all got more guns, but he's willing to help, I guess. I wonder what's making that cool lighting. Yeah, so a lot of stereotypes here about L.A. Rottweiler on a chain. Bouncing cars. Fuck is the bouncing car thing? Who's that supposed to impress? And then those guys with the shirts done up only at the top. I don't know. It's weird. Very far from my world. Like, this is a world I've only seen on TV and the movies. I don't know anything about it. It's like some sort of like rap video from the 90s. Other hidden game. So it's funny because you think as the movie would go on, she would look more bedraggled, but this is probably the best she looks. Like, she doesn't look strung out or coked out or like she hasn't slept in days now. She actually looks better. So I don't know. And who knows how this movie was shot? Movies usually are not shot in chronological sequence or anything. But it's interesting that like the last few days have really been hard on her. People keep trying to kill her, and she's probably not getting much sleep or anything. But she actually looks well rested and healthier now than she did earlier on. So what are we looking for? Hidden compartment and lots of guns, right? Or special briefcase. Come on, it's got to have some cool guns, right? Oh yeah, custom handguns. Oh, they're taking the whole car too. I mean, honestly, I think they're entitled after he fucked them over. Damn angels. Nice. Okay, so there's not much. We're coming up to the final act here. Okay, that's the guy that the old guy that would sort of give him the jobs. I guess he's going to coerce him into telling him something. Because, yeah, I think the whole thing is they're trying to stop the cop and the cop's kid from getting killed. Because, yeah, I think the kid himself was also a target. Like, the idea was, since he killed my son, I'm going to kill his son, but kill him too. I don't know. I think the kid is a target. So. Give her credit. At this point, she doesn't really have to stick with him, but she does. I mean, he's killed everyone that's come after them so far, so I can understand her thinking, hell, I'll stick with him, even if he does have a target on his back. Because he's pretty good at this. Cartoon festival. There's Mr. Magoo. Right, so the cop has brought his son to a festival of old shitty cartoons. So they're racing to save him. We haven't seen those two assassins, but obviously they're around. Oh, that's them there. The gun's ready. Mr. Magoo is such a terrible, terrible character. And, like, take out, like, of course, it's pretty offensive to, like, people that are, like, blind or sight challenged or whatever like that. Like, it's just lazy, terrible, shitty writing. But that's what it was. I can't believe they made a live-action movie of it in the 90s. And I love Leslie Nielsen, but I feel like he should have said no to that one. I think it hurts his legacy a little bit. It's a nice theater. Makes me as the cool one we used to have in Sydney that got bulldozed because the world is stupid. Nothing gets protected. I mean, the old one that I never saw that's actually here in Halifax, like, even though it's gone, they at least commemorate it in some way. The building that replaced it has this little section in a lobby that shows photographs and has a few things they saved from it. But the theater I'm talking about in Sydney was called the Vogue Theater. It was really cool, old school. Didn't have a balcony, which is too bad. But I mean, it had the stage and the curtains and everything. It's beautiful. Like, it's just gone, and it's like it never existed. There's nothing saved. So there's some very John Woo-esque diving and sliding. I get it. He doesn't own that. Okay, both killers are up on balconies. Looking down. Okay. Oh, one. There goes the white guy. Down to Trejo. Oh, laser sight. Very nice. But yeah, like the seats and the floor plan reminds me a lot of the Vogue. They were also red and looked like this. Oh, there's the boy. Did you just call him Theo? Oh, Zito. Oh, okay. His name is Stan Zedkov, but I guess Zito is like his nickname or something. That was kind of weird. So there's some classics spinning around shooting. Trejo's still going. Couldn't hit him. Now he's really pissed because his partner's dead. I guess they both got out because the cops are here. Nice earring, dumbass. I do not know what he said there. He said something about being saved by Lee. Does the boy have any dialogue at all? Or does he just cry and smile? Doesn't say anything there. There's like no 90s cars in this 90s movie. Everybody drives an 80s car for some reason. Big, blocky 80s cars. I mean, obviously, in the 90s, there's still plenty of 80s cars around, but like, doesn't anybody have like a Toyota Corolla or something? Now he's got himself a big gun. Because now it's personal. Okay, it was already personal, but now more personal. What do we got here? Oh, he took a hit. At least it was like he just got grazed, so he's bleeding a lot, but like he doesn't like have a bullet in him. Because movies often show people get shot in the shoulder and they like carry on. But I mean, there's some major arteries in the shoulder, so getting shot in the shoulder can actually kill you. And if not kill you, still really incapacitate you. So I think he just got winged. Kind of the Bruce Willis thing here. Like that shirt used to be white and now it's not so white. He's doing his tough guy whispering, so I have no idea what he's saying. My kingdom for subtitles. What does this say? 2 action-packed thrillers. As far as this movie goes, it says, if you don't own the movie yet, I would recommend it. From DVD Talk. DVD? Those are ancient. It's a Blu-ray, yo. This is mother and sister. How old is that photograph? Because I figured his sister would probably be an adult. But that shows like a little girl. Yeah, they're gonna kill this guy? He's still alive. I forgot. Yeah, they're still talking about killing the mother and sister. What? I mean, this movie doesn't move out of the city, so I don't know how they... Or maybe it's just they have to kill Wei and that will end it. Yeah, Riker and Collins, that was the name of the assassins. So Riker's dead. Collins is who Trejo is. He's still around. Okay, yeah. So Wei's plan here is he's just gonna go do it himself. He's gonna leave the country, go to Shanghai or China or wherever in China, and find them and kill them. But Lee is going to ambush him. This ending stuff is what I remember best about the movie, probably. This last part. It's a cool alleyway. Almost reminds me of like The Crow. This movie has some good shots of like some cool claustrophobic urban decay. Here we go. Got the 2 handguns finally. Duck. You might want to duck. Yeah, the whole movie he didn't have the dual handguns. Now he's got them. I was about to say his aim's not the best, but it's a lot better than that guy's. Some more sliding on the ground. Where's Beth? Not Beth, Meg. Meg's gotta be around. Ah, nice. So you do that. So he's emptied 4 guns so far. He's got at least 1 left. Oh, spinning shot. Okay, the spinning is a little dumb. But that's okay. Ah, there she is. Nice. Run the fucker over. Where's Trejo? Climb, bitch. Oh, there's Trejo. He's been up top shooting all along. Oh, grenade launcher. That's one thing the movie didn't have so far. It didn't have any explosions, so there we go. Nice explosion there. I love it whenever people are like shooting on or around fire escapes. Nobody can hit anybody. I mean, I get it. Yes, there's some protection there, but you think when they're firing so many rounds, something would get through or ricochet or something. But it's always like, damn, he's on a fire escape. He might as well have a force field around him. Bang, bang. Running through a kitchen. Now that's a scene in movies. Running through a kitchen while the staff like gets freaked out. Okay, so she has her own little boss to worry about here, which is the white guy in Way's organization. Oh, very clever, turning the lights out. How will she deal? It's not like he's got night vision. So yeah, she gets him, and Lee wants to go after Way, but he still has to deal with Collins. I don't know. It's hard to think of Danny Trejo, who's played many characters with many different names, but Collins just does not seem right. It makes me think of like, I don't know, like Mr. Collins from Pride and Prejudice or something. I think of Collins as a very prim and proper white guy, not a gun-toting Danny Trejo. It's just a name. I mean, most of these characters that get named, like it gets used once and then it never comes up again. Like, at some point, they said this is Collins and Riker. That's the end. It's not like people are saying it over. This guy is absurdly confident. I mean, she's armed too. I mean, it's one-on-one. You're both armed. You think you wouldn't be so confident. That's weird. The gun almost sounded like it had silencer on it. It does not. See, you make one mistake and you're dead. That's how you do it. I mean, I don't care who you are. You're going into like that sort of situation. You've got a gun. They've got a gun. It's one-on-one. It's like the first person to make a mistake dies. Doesn't matter who you are. This guy's acting like, oh, she has no chance against me. Okay, so he's got the drop. Oh, Collins actually had a line of dialogue there before he got killed. So all that's left is him and Way. They're both out. Perhaps a little bit overused, but it's just who reloads faster. Me. A little anticlimactic, but oh well. The end boss can't always be. In your lifetime, I remember that line. He says like his family's gonna die. In your lifetime, bang. Dramatic drop. So he's still alive as he's falling. You can tell by the way his like legs are flailing. It's a pretty good fall. Lots of sparks. 7 out of 10 for that fall. Pretty good. This movie does make some good use of lighting. Like here, there's some nice dramatic lighting that falls on John in certain moments. So, I mean, this isn't a bad scene at all. You've got water, lighting effects, sparks. It's shot very nicely. I mean, again, a lot of just sort of cliches and things. Oh, it's Rooker who finds him. You're a bit late to the party, Rooker. I forgot about you. Zeeb or Zito or whatever the fuck they call you. It's like, I can still arrest Lee. I think you'll probably let him go because he saved your life several times. And spared your life once. What a predicament. Oh. He's got backup. wonder what the Chinese graffiti on those walls say. They're all probably beautiful poems. It's funny, like, yeah, like as somebody that is used to can't read that stuff. We always think of it as so beautiful. Like, it's weird to think of like, graffiti, particularly like obscene graffiti, being written in like Chinese characters. But I mean, that must exist. So there's a moment of, it's like, I won't arrest you. I'll shake your hand. It's like, here, I'll just give you the gun instead. I'm better at guns than personal stuff, so here's a gun. Or maybe that's what he wanted. Maybe he was asking for the gun. It's like, you can't leave the country without that. Doesn't matter. They have an understanding. He won't arrest them. She gives up her gun too. As if it matters. It's like, this is America. It's super easy. We'll just get more guns later. Hell, we can take some off the corpses outside. All the SWAT guys even got to put their like ski mask things on. Right. So there's still some unfinished business. He has to, even though Way's dead, there still might be people coming after his mother and sister. So that's where he's going. And he has made some new passports for them. It's a nice parting gift. So yeah, I come to the end here. They bond. And I like that they're just like friends. Like, you don't always need to have like the male lead and female lead that are in like a crazy situation together, like fall in love. And sometimes they don't even fall in love. They get all horned up from the situation, so they just bang or whatever. Like, that doesn't happen here. And I'm not saying that has anything to do with the actors involved. I just think, sometimes the script is fine. He's a man, she's a woman, and crazy stuff happens, but that doesn't mean there has to be any sex in it. I'm not saying that would ruin the movie for me. I'm just saying it's in plenty of movies. You don't need it all the time. So it's more like, they're friends, platonic friends. This is the best her hair has looked. Throughout most of the movie, her hair is pretty messed up, which I think is the point. So once again, she got herself a little bit together before they got to the airport. But yeah, I mean, there's so many movies. It's just like hookups. And as far as his character goes, like in most movies I've seen, he doesn't really have many romantic attachments in the action stuff, because maybe he keeps it separate, because he does do romantic stuff. Oh, nice. It just disappears. Beautiful. Poof. Because he did like all sorts of like dramas and romances and stuff in his younger days. So there you go, Replacement Killers. Just sort of a time waster. It's nice that anybody tuned in at all for this live. I wasn't expecting it, so I appreciate that. But I don't know. I just like the movie. There's nothing special about it. It's hard to separate it from a lot of movies in the like action movies in the 90s. But people talk about various movies being famous or popular, so then there'd be sort of imitators or ripoffs. Like there's quite a few like Pulp Fiction type ripoffs in the 90s trying to capitalize on that. And this movie, to me, is very much sort of like an imitation of a John Woo movie, made a bit legitimate by the fact that it does star Chow Yun-fat. But I think it shows off the bat that Antoine Fuqua is a competent director, and as I said, he'd go on to do some other stuff. Well, did he do anything else? He didn't do anything else this action-y. Well, then again, I didn't see the two Equalizer movies, but I know they're action movies, so. And Olympus Has Fallen is an action movie. Oh, he did Shooter too. Wow. Okay, so he's done plenty of action. I saw most of Shooter. I don't really remember it. But yeah, this is still my favorite movie by that director, his first. But probably my second favorite is Brooklyn's Finest, which is more of a drama than it's not really an action movie. It's got something coming up in 2023, and it's called Emancipation, and it's supposed to be an action thriller. And it's supposed to star Will Smith. Okay. Why not? As far as I know, he's never worked with Will Smith before, so there you go. Anyway, so yeah, not much to say. I don't know. I just wanted to get something up here, do something, do some blabbing, get myself on camera again because I've been off for a while. So this is something to help get me back in the game. So next time on the channel will be something much more interesting and worthwhile than this. Whether it's as far as this channel goes, what have I got? Well, continuing, it's been slowed down, but Jess and I are still doing the commentaries of various animated films. We've had to slow down, but we have a pretty special one coming up for when we can coordinate that. We've had to push it back a few times. But when we figure that out, the next one's going to be pretty interesting, I think. So definitely check that out. The movie discussion pocket I mentioned with Jay and Stingray, that will resume soon, hopefully, and we'll get some consistency going. It's not been a great year, which is too bad because 2021 wasn't a great year for it either. I feel like we're not being very productive, and I think it's more my fault because I mean, as you can see, Jay's managed to be pretty productive with other stuff. Although, to me, there's a difference between doing something a little more prepared than this. This is just sort of talking off the cuff. Like this was more, like I said, a practice run. It wasn't anything serious. But when I do a live commentary, I really try to in most situations do something that really does give information about the movie and focus on the movie. So even though this, and of course this was, I didn't have much reason to go off topic. But I just mean this is not the deepest movie or the most interesting movie. But anyway, I enjoy it, so I'm glad to see it again. So anyway, it was good to get something done. No reason to overstay my welcome here. Thanks a lot to anybody that tuned in and to anybody watching this in the future. That's pretty cool because I don't know. It's probably not a movie that you'd be too interested in. Like, oh, a live commentary for the Replacement Killers. And it's just Cole by himself with anybody even to talk to. That's interesting. No, probably not. But, you know, still, I'm glad to get it up and get something done there. So thanks a lot. Again, anybody who's watched now or later or anything like that means a lot to me. So, but next time will definitely be something more interesting. Definitely something more worth watching for sure. But this still did the job. It got me going. So thanks a lot, guys. Thank you very much. I will see you soon. Peace out. And yeah, better stuff coming up for